Have you ever met someone and felt an immediate connection as if you had known them in another lifetime? Or perhaps someone entered your life at precisely the right moment, offering guidance or challenges that altered your path. Buddhism teaches us that such encounters are not mere coincidences, but rather manifestations of karma, the unseen threads that weave the fabric of our existence. Every person who crosses your path does so for a reason. Some come to uplift and support you, reflecting the kindness and merit you have cultivated in past lives. Others arrive as teachers, sometimes through wisdom, sometimes through suffering, challenging you to grow, to let go, and to understand the impermanence of all things. Even those who bring pain and hardship are, in a way, guiding you toward greater self-awareness, resilience, and compassion. In Buddhism, relationships are viewed through the lens of karma and interconnectedness. The law of cause and effect, karma, teaches us that every interaction is shaped by past actions, even those we do not remember. If someone treats you with kindness, it may be because you once extended kindness to them, even in a previous existence. If another person causes you suffering, it could be the unfolding of past karma, an opportunity to resolve unfinished lessons, practice forgiveness, and break cycles of negativity. The Buddha taught that life is a series of ever-changing experiences, governed by the principle of impermanence, anicca. No relationship, no matter how significant, will remain the same forever. People come and go, and clinging to their presence or resenting their absence only leads to suffering. Instead, we must approach every relationship with mindfulness, gratitude, and non-attachment, embracing the lessons they bring without trying to control their course. One of the most profound Buddhist practices related to relationships is metta, or loving kindness. Rather than reacting to people with attachment or aversion, we learn to cultivate unconditional love, wishing for the happiness and liberation of all beings. This does not mean allowing harmful relationships to persist, but rather seeing every person, friend or foe, as part of our spiritual journey. By responding with compassion instead of resentment, we free ourselves from the chains of anger and deepen our path toward enlightenment. The concept of dependent origination, paticca samuppada, further explains how our connections with others shape our reality. Nothing exists independently. Everything arises due to conditions. Your relationships, past and present, are the result of countless factors, choices, emotions, past lives, and even the karma of those around you. Understanding this helps us release the illusion of control and surrender to the natural flow of life. So the next time you meet someone new or reflect on past relationships, ask yourself, what lesson is this person teaching me? What karmic ties connect us? How can I navigate this interaction with wisdom and compassion? By embracing the deeper meaning of human connections, we move beyond superficial interactions and step into a life of true understanding, inner peace, and spiritual growth. In the end, every person you meet is part of your journey. Some are there to walk beside you for a while, some to challenge you, and some to teach you profound truths. And when you begin to see relationships through the lens of karma, impermanence, and compassion, you will never look at them the same way again. In Buddhism, life is not a series of isolated events, but an intricate web of interconnected causes and effects, woven together by karma. Every person we meet, every interaction we have, no matter how brief or profound, plays a role in shaping our journey. The Buddha taught that nothing happens by chance. Every encounter is the result of past actions, creating the conditions for growth, transformation, and understanding. The three types of people you meet in life. According to Buddhist teachings, the people who enter our lives fall into three broad categories, each serving a distinct purpose in our spiritual evolution. 1. Those who help you grow. These are the individuals who bring wisdom, kindness, and encouragement into your life. They may appear as teachers, spiritual guides, friends, or even strangers who share a profound insight at just the right moment. Their presence often leads to inner development, guiding you toward a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. In Buddhism, such individuals are known as Kalyana Mitta, or spiritual friends, people who support and uplift you on the path to enlightenment. The Buddha himself emphasized the importance of spiritual friendship, stating, "Admirable friendship, admirable companionship, admirable camaraderie is actually the whole of the holy life." These people remind us of our true potential, helping us cultivate wisdom, mindfulness, and compassion. However, it is essential to recognize that not all growth comes from ease and comfort. Some of the most transformative relationships arise from hardship. 2. Those who challenge you. Not all relationships are pleasant, but every relationship is meaningful. Some people enter your life to test your patience, confront your weaknesses, or challenge your beliefs. They may cause you frustration, sadness, or even deep emotional pain. Yet, within the suffering they bring, there is also an opportunity for growth. From a Buddhist perspective, these individuals are not our enemies, but our greatest teachers. The Dhammapada, an ancient Buddhist text, teaches that the wise do not hold on to resentment or anger. For every difficulty is a chance to develop equanimity. When someone mistreats you, you are given the opportunity to practice patience. When you are betrayed, you are challenged to cultivate forgiveness. When someone provokes anger in you, you can choose to respond with mindfulness instead of reactivity. In this way, even those who hurt us play a crucial role in our spiritual journey. The Buddha himself faced criticism, betrayal, and even attempts on his life, yet he met these challenges with compassion and wisdom. We too can transform suffering into understanding, using difficult relationships as stepping stones toward enlightenment. 3. Those who appear briefly but leave a lasting impact. Some people pass through our lives like a fleeting moment, yet their presence leaves a profound and lasting imprint. These are the individuals who, in a single conversation or interaction, shift our perspective, inspire us, or reveal an important truth. Like a shooting star in the night sky, they illuminate our path for a brief time before disappearing, leaving behind wisdom that stays with us forever. In Buddhist philosophy, these encounters are not accidental. They arise due to the ripening of past karma, seeds planted long ago that now bear fruit. Perhaps a stranger's kind words come when you need them most, or a brief encounter opens your eyes to a lesson you were meant to learn. These moments are reminders of the impermanence of all things, anicca, teaching us to cherish each experience while understanding that nothing lasts forever. Understanding karma and interdependence in relationships. Buddhism teaches that our relationships are governed by karma, the law of cause and effect. The people we meet are not random. They are the result of our past actions, both in this life and previous ones. Every interaction, whether joyful, painful, or fleeting, is an opportunity to either heal old karma or create new positive karma through mindful action. This is closely related to the Buddhist principle of dependent origination, Paticca-samuppada, which states that nothing exists independently. Our experiences are shaped by countless conditions, and our relationships are part of this intricate web of interdependence. Understanding this helps us move beyond attachment and aversion, seeing all encounters as part of a greater unfolding of life. How to approach every relationship with wisdom and mindfulness. Practice loving kindness. Metta. Approach every person with a heart full of goodwill, regardless of how they treat you. This does not mean tolerating harm, but cultivating an attitude of compassion and understanding. Embrace impermanence. Anicca. Recognize that no relationship is permanent. People will come and go, and clinging to them only causes suffering. Learn to appreciate each moment without attachment. Reflect on the lesson. Ask yourself, what is this person teaching me? Whether they bring joy or hardship, every interaction is an opportunity for growth. Let go of resentment. Holding on to anger or grudges only harms yourself. The Buddha taught that hatred does not cease by hatred, but by love. Release negativity and free yourself from unnecessary suffering. Be present. Engage with people fully and mindfully. Often, we overlook the significance of those around us because we are distracted. By being fully present, we can appreciate the lessons and beauty in every relationship, the profound meaning behind every encounter, so the next time you meet someone and feel an instant connection or even an unexplained discomfort, pause and reflect. Why has this person entered my life? What lesson are they here to teach me? Whether they remain for years or just a moment, their presence has meaning. In the grand tapestry of existence, every thread, every person has a role. Some will uplift you, some will challenge you, and some will simply remind you of the fleeting nature of all things. But when you begin to see relationships through the lens of karma, interdependence, and impermanence, you will find profound wisdom in every encounter. And perhaps, in recognizing this, you will walk your path with greater peace, acceptance, and compassion. The path of suffering. Why we must let others find their own way. Imagine a butterfly struggling to emerge from its cocoon. Its fragile wings, still damp and undeveloped, are straining against the confines of its old form. Moved by compassion, you decide to help. You carefully peel the cocoon open, freeing the butterfly from its struggle. But instead of soaring into the sky, it collapses. Its wings, never having faced resistance, are too weak to fly. In your attempt to help, you have unintentionally hindered its growth. This is what happens when we interfere in the struggles of others before they are ready. In Buddhism, suffering, dukkha, is not merely an unfortunate circumstance, but a crucial teacher, an unavoidable part of the path to wisdom. Every hardship, every moment of pain is an opportunity for transformation. The fire that tempers steel, the storm that shapes the mountain, these forces of nature mirror the process of human growth. However, when we try to shield others from pain, we often prevent them from gaining the wisdom that only suffering can bring. Our intentions may be noble, but wisdom cannot be forced upon another. Just as a seed must break through the soil on its own to grow strong, each person must navigate their own suffering to truly awaken. The Buddha's approach, teaching, not forcing. The Buddha himself understood this profound truth. Despite his infinite compassion, he never imposed his teachings upon those who were unwilling to receive them. He only shared wisdom with those who sought it. When someone approached him with an open heart and a willingness to learn, he offered guidance. But he never chased after people, nor did he attempt to save them from their own suffering before they were ready to transcend it. One of the most famous examples of this principle is the story of the Buddha and the grieving mother, Kisa Gotami. After losing her child, she was consumed by sorrow and refused to accept his death. She sought out the Buddha, begging him to bring her son back to life. Instead of immediately offering words of comfort, the Buddha instructed her to find a mustard seed from a household that had never experienced death. She searched far and wide, but found that every home had faced loss. It was only then, through her own realization, that she understood the universal nature of suffering and accepted her grief. Had the Buddha simply told her that death is inevitable, she might not have truly understood. But by allowing her to come to the realization on her own, she internalized a deep truth that changed her forever, helping or hindering. When we see someone struggling, our first instinct is often to help, to offer solutions, to take away their pain. But true compassion is not about fixing another person's problems. It is about understanding when to offer guidance and when to step back. Before rushing to intervene, ask yourself, am I truly helping them, or am I just trying to ease my own discomfort? Seeing someone suffer can make us feel uneasy, so we try to fix them, not always for their benefit, but for our own peace of mind. Do they truly need my guidance, or do they need to learn through experience? If wisdom could be handed out like medicine, suffering would cease to exist. But true understanding comes from experience, not from being told what to do. Am I acting out of genuine compassion or out of attachment to their situation? Often, our desire to help stems from attachment, wanting things to be a certain way, wanting people to change according to our expectations. But attachment leads to suffering for both ourselves and others. The balance between compassion and wisdom. Does this mean we should never help others? Not at all. Buddhism teaches the importance of compassion, karuna, but it must be paired with wisdom, prajna. Offering help when someone is truly ready can be an act of great kindness, but forcing our help when someone is not yet prepared can do more harm than good. Consider the analogy of a lotus flower. A lotus cannot be forced to bloom before its time. If we try to pry its petals open, we will only damage it. It must unfold naturally, in its own way, at its own pace. Human beings are the same. Our understanding, our growth, our awakening. These must happen when we are truly ready. The most compassionate act, letting go sometimes. The greatest act of love is allowing others to walk their own path. Even if that path involves struggle, we can offer support, but we cannot walk the path for them. We can share wisdom, but we cannot make someone understand. When we let go of the need to control another person's journey, we cultivate a deeper form of compassion, one that is free from attachment, one that is truly selfless. This is the essence of Buddhist wisdom: to love without clinging, to help without interfering, to guide without forcing. So the next time you see someone struggling, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, not how can I save them, but rather, how can I support them without hindering their growth? True compassion is not about removing all obstacles from someone's path. It is about standing beside them as they find their own way. And perhaps, in doing so, we too will learn a profound lesson, that just as the butterfly must struggle to strengthen its wings, so too must we allow those we care for to face their own challenges, so that when the time comes, they can rise, transformed, and take flight on their own. In Buddhism, kindness is not just an action, but a state of mind cultivated through wisdom. The Buddha taught metta, loving kindness, an unconditional compassion that extends to all beings. However, he also emphasized the middle way, the balance between extremes. Even kindness, when given without discernment, can lead to suffering. Many people believe that being kind means always saying yes, always putting others before themselves, and never setting boundaries. But when kindness lacks wisdom, it becomes a burden. It can lead to exhaustion, resentment, and even being taken advantage of. The Buddha warned against clinging, whether to people, emotions, or expectations. If we give out of fear of rejection or guilt, are we truly practicing compassion, or are we trapped in attachment? Think about it. How often have you sacrificed your well-being just to keep others happy? How many times have you felt drained because you couldn't say no? Buddhism teaches mindfulness, sati, which allows us to observe our intentions before we act. If kindness comes from obligation rather than a genuine heart, it loses its purity. The Buddha encouraged upekkha, equanimity, the wisdom of balance. True kindness does not mean overextending yourself to the point of suffering. It means recognizing that caring for yourself is just as important as caring for others. When you set boundaries, you are not rejecting others. You are preserving your inner peace. The Noble Eightfold Path includes right intention, sammasankappa, which reminds us that our actions should be driven by wisdom, not compulsion. If kindness depletes you, it is no longer kindness. It is self-sacrifice without purpose. A candle that burns too fast will extinguish before it can light the way. So next time you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself, am I being kind out of love or out of fear? Am I acting from strength or from guilt? The Buddha's teachings remind us that true compassion includes yourself. As he said, you, yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. If kindness costs you your peace, it is time to return to balance. The middle way is the path to true kindness, one that nurtures both yourself and others. In Buddhism, energy is not just a concept, but a reflection of the mind's state and the karmic connections we cultivate. Every interaction we engage in influences our inner peace, shaping our emotions, thoughts, and even our karma. The Buddha taught that our environment, including the people we surround ourselves with, has a direct impact on our spiritual well-being. Just as a monk carefully selects a quiet temple for meditation, we must be mindful of the energy we allow into our lives. Understanding energy and spiritual well-being, the Buddha emphasized the importance of samskara, the mental formations that shape our thoughts, emotions, and reactions. Every encounter leaves an imprint on our consciousness, subtly altering our state of mind. If we are constantly exposed to negativity, manipulation, or chaos, our inner peace begins to erode. Mindfulness, sati, teaches us to observe these influences and make conscious choices about where we direct our energy. Some people uplift us, helping us cultivate metta, loving kindness, and mudita, sympathetic joy. Others, however, drain us, creating obstacles on the path to enlightenment. Recognizing these patterns is essential for maintaining balance and protecting our spiritual journey. 3 signs that someone is draining your energy. 1. They leave you feeling emotionally exhausted rather than uplifted. The Buddha taught that wholesome relationships should be based on kalyanamitta, noble friendship. True companionship supports spiritual growth, encourages wisdom, and fosters inner peace. However, if spending time with someone leaves you feeling anxious, drained, or uneasy, it is a sign that their energy may be misaligned with yours. Dukkha, suffering, often arises from clinging to unhealthy connections out of habit or fear. Mindfulness helps us recognize when a relationship is no longer serving our highest good. 2. They manipulate you through guilt or control. Buddhism teaches the importance of non-attachment, upadana. A healthy relationship is built on mutual respect, not obligation. If someone frequently makes you feel like you owe them your time, energy, or compliance, it is a sign of control, not compassion. The Buddha warned against relationships rooted in tanha, craving, as they create cycles of suffering. Letting go of these attachments allows us to cultivate equanimity, upekkha, where we neither cling to toxic relationships nor harbor resentment toward them. 3. They create chaos and disrupt your balance. Some people thrive on drama, constantly pulling others into their emotional turmoil. The Buddha likened the mind to a still pond. Only in tranquility can we see clearly. If someone's presence consistently disturbs your inner harmony, it is a sign to step back. The practice of samadhi, concentration, teaches us to maintain mental clarity, free from unnecessary distractions. Choosing peace over chaos is not an act of rejection, but of wisdom. Protecting your energy as a spiritual practice. Guarding your energy is not about isolation, but about mindful selection. The Buddha often retreated to nature for meditation, not because he rejected the world, but because he understood the power of an undisturbed mind. Similarly, we must create an environment that nurtures our inner peace. This might mean setting boundaries, reducing exposure to negativity, or cultivating relationships with those who share our spiritual values. A key teaching of Buddhism is anicca, impermanence. People and situations change, and clinging to relationships that no longer serve our growth only leads to suffering. By practicing right effort, samma viyama, we learn to direct our energy toward what is wholesome and uplifting. The joy of inner clarity. When we protect our energy, we create space for clarity, joy, and wisdom. We begin to experience sukha, true happiness, which arises not from external validation, but from a balanced and peaceful mind. As the Buddha said, "Your worst enemy cannot harm you as much as your own unguarded thoughts." If we allow negativity to infiltrate our consciousness, we disrupt our own path to awakening. Thus, be mindful of who you allow into your life. Choose companions who support your peace. Just as a monk chooses a tranquil monastery for meditation, when you align your energy with wisdom and compassion, life becomes lighter, and the path to enlightenment becomes clearer. In Buddhism, impermanence, anicca, is one of the fundamental truths of existence. Nothing remains the same. People change, relationships evolve, and situations shift. Clinging to what has passed only leads to suffering, dukkha. The Buddha taught that attachment, upadana, is the root of suffering because it creates an illusion of permanence in a world that is constantly changing. Learning to let go is not about forgetting or rejecting what once was, but about embracing the natural flow of life with wisdom and equanimity. The nature of change in relationships. Not everyone is meant to stay in our lives forever, and that is a truth we must learn to accept with grace. We often struggle when relationships fade, questioning why someone has left or whether we did something wrong. But the reality is that every person we encounter plays a role in our journey. Some teach us lessons, others challenge us, and some guide us toward growth. Clinging to relationships that have naturally come to an end only prolongs our suffering. The Buddha used the analogy of a traveler crossing a river with the help of a raft. Once they have reached the other shore, they do not carry the raft on their back. It has served its purpose. In the same way, certain relationships help us move forward, but when they have fulfilled their role, we must release them instead of holding on unnecessarily. Shifting perspective, lessons over loss. Instead of mourning what has ended, we can reframe our thinking by reflecting on what the relationship brought into our lives. Every person we meet has something to teach us. When a relationship fades, we can ask ourselves, what lessons did this person bring into my life? Did they teach me about patience, resilience, or understanding? Every experience, positive or negative, offers wisdom if we are mindful enough to see it. How have I grown from knowing them? Relationships, even those that end, shape our character. They push us to expand our perspective, challenge our attachments, and deepen our compassion. Am I ready to release the past and embrace the present? Letting go does not mean forgetting or erasing memories. It means loosening our grip on the past so that we can fully embrace the present. The art of letting go with wisdom. Letting go is a practice of acceptance, upekkha. It is not about pushing people away or suppressing emotions, but about understanding that life moves in cycles. The Buddha taught that suffering arises when we resist reality. When we accept that everything is transient, we free ourselves from unnecessary pain. The practice of vipassana meditation encourages us to observe our thoughts and emotions without attachment. If sadness or longing arises when reflecting on a past relationship, we do not suppress it, nor do we cling to it. Instead, we acknowledge it with mindfulness and allow it to pass like a cloud in the sky. This is the essence of true peace, being able to experience emotions without being controlled by them, making space for new wisdom and peace. By releasing attachments, we create space for new experiences, deeper understanding, and greater peace. Just as a tree sheds its leaves in autumn to prepare for new growth in spring, we too must let go of what no longer serves us to welcome new wisdom. The Buddha said, "You can only lose what you cling to." If we grasp onto the past, we hinder our own spiritual progress. But when we let go, we find that we were never losing anything. We were simply making room for what comes next. Embrace change with an open heart, and you will find that every ending is just the beginning of something new.